You're listening to the Psychic Coffee Shop Podcast Network.
Good evening, and welcome to Mountain Bears on the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. I'm Aeson, and of course we have Techy Joe in the tech state. How you doing, honey?
Doing pretty good. Finally getting over this, sinus infection crap. Flip me. It's been fun. It's fun. We've had a fun week with that. I only slept till 3 today, so, we're doing better.
Hey, that's early. I personally prefer to get out of bed earlier than 4.
True.
Yeah,
I did your
it doesn't
schedule
work
this week,
currently.
so ha.
Yeah, you done the schedule. I love that you're taking over the reins of my schedule and the reins of the station. And, you're doing a lot of business management things because it frees me up to do other things like teach more classes and, focus on, what I really got in the business to do, which was be the creator, the creative person. I really hate doing paperwork. I really hate going, and I have that big problem with saying no, although I'm getting better.
Well, we won't even go there at all. But, hi. But I couldn't miss the opportunity. It was right there. It's like low-hanging fruit. Which is what the cat says when you bend over in front of the refrigerator. But anyway.
But anyway, it's actually been really good. You've been sick. But we're starting to put some really good things in. We had a little bit of a shift this week. As you know, it's like a coffee shop was not on. That's because our internet kind of, sucked while he was on a coma. There was a lovely tornado in West Virginia. And, of course, it messed up the internet.
Can we just talk about this week? I have, the doctor's appointment, fluke screw-up from hell on Monday. I was already, I didn't realize I was getting sick, but I knew I didn't feel good that morning. And so we're driving back, and I'm like, oh, crap. That point when you realize, no, I'm not just feeling a little off today. It's not just the drive. It's not just the uphill, downhill thing. I'm getting sick. There's stuff going on. This is bad. So, that was the joy of driving back. And then we get home, and there's no power.
Right.
So that was fun. And so we had a lovely evening in the 1800s. With our little oil lamp on the porch, because at least it was cooler outside. And, it was what the hell? And then Tuesday, everything was still, trashed. Internet's weird. Everything was weird. And, it was just, it's been one thing after another this week. I mean, I know we pretty much start the shows with that. Like, it's been one thing after another. Like, could we get a break? Can we get a break?
Well,
Like,
again,
I'd like
we're
a
not
break.
going to, because this, unfortunately, is is my world, my business. You kind of pointed it out last week to me that some people live in certain areas, and some people put up with certain things. If your husband works on AC, every one of your friends are going to call to fix their AC.
Well, yeah.
I work
there's a certain amount of
social life.
Yeah.
I work, in priest life. I don't get so the AC's out, would you run over and, pop some Freon in it? No, I get I'm going to divorce his ass, so will you please make him understand that he's an idiot?
Oh, yeah, there's always that. Yeah, those are actually reasonable. We do occasionally get unreasonable ones.
We
but
do.
No, what I do have to say, and I'm not minimizing anyone's pain, is I do find it slightly humorous that I no more than said earlier today, because we were planning an outing for Sunday if I'm actually, 100%. And I said, ooh, let's pick up this one friend because they're in a relationship with someone who lives near where we're going. So they're doing like a distance thing and money's tight and all that. And I was like, why don't we grab him and take him with us? And then, that'll be awesome. No more than said that. And we hear from the other half of the couple, there currently is a storm brewing there. And I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going, no.
We just got out of the last one with them. And it's like, I'm not mad. I'm really not mad. I'm just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I just, totally was like, let's help them out. Let's get them in the same room together. You know. Are you kidding me now? It's like, really,
no,
guys? Now I don't even want to put that offer out there. I'm like, nope. No, we're not putting that offer out there. Nope. Like, we're going to pretend when we are in that area that we weren't there. Like, we are not posting to Facebook. We are turning off the phones. We are pretending that we did not leave the house on Sunday.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I prefer that.
I know.
Not to be mean, but I kind of like to be able to go to somewhere, go do something, take that quality time, and then on the other side of that, I'd kind of like, because of our security risks, because of my positioning, and I'd like to be able to go and enjoy that activity. And not have to be on.
Well, no, and I get all that. It's just, come on. How many times do we actually, can I just point out for our audience, it took me, 10 events before I finally figured out that your version of, all right, I've got this event in, Morgantown, and we're going to go up, and we can go do this and do that, and blah, 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 was his very optimistic version that was totally divorced from his work self, that somewhere on that drive turns on, and suddenly it's all get to the hotel, check in, go to the event, come back from the event, go to bed, get up, drive home. 10 events I did this. Whole time sitting there going, I thought there was supposed to be fun. Where's the fun?
Well, when, I get done at the event and I'm like, I'm in the mood. to go do X, Y, Z, and you're looking at me like,
it's after midnight.
Yeah, and I'm like, and the show's not till 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not taking you to a bar. No. Like, you went to that event to make money. If we take you to a bar, we'll leave broke. I know how to
depending on the bar. Some of them I still have an account with.
Oh, good Lord. No, that's just frightening. No, not happening. Nope. Yeah. No. And I'm not a bar kid. I'm not a bar kid. And we've gone through that in an earlier show. If I'd been a bar kid, we would have met like a decade sooner. But yeah. I'm not a bar kid. I don't do bars. I'm usually end up the DD, mostly because when I drink, I'm a 2-drink drunk. By drink 3, put me to bed. By drink 4, just give me a trash can.
And, with
like,
me, it's like,
there's no amount of, like, the upside is no matter how drunk I am, I will clean up after myself, but I would like a trash can. Like, don't make me get up. But, yeah. No, I don't do, like, that's why I'm like, why go to the bar? Like, it never did anything for me. Like,
well, I like going to the bar.
Experiences.
Yeah, for me, I like going to the bar. And the reason I like going to the bar really has nothing to do about the drinking. That's never been the thing. It's more so the ability to hang out, get with community, see what the heck's going on stage, sit there and debate the new makeup style or why they have no tits. That's what it is now. When I was younger, it wasn't even about drinking then. It was about making money. How much can I pull in tonight? And interlinking and working with things. So for me, the bar isn't let's go get drunk. Granted, I'll grab a drink as I come through the door, and I'll probably have the same drink as I walk out the door. But that's what bars have always been about, is community. And, that's why Pulse was such a huge thing. That's why, a lot of things start at bars. Stonewall was a bar. It was our community, and we said, we had enough of this shit.
And 50 years later, look at where we are now. But I get that. I do. I get that. And I should clarify my statement. I don't like going to gay bars. I love going to a lesbian bar. I will go to a lesbian bar with any lesbian that wants to take me. Like, lesbian bars are great.
But they don't have shows.
I know, but I actually get hit on at those.
You don't actually get hit on at the bar
I'm
when
good
you go to
right
the bar.
Up until that girl realizes I am good until girl realizes that I have a penis.
And that's debatable if that's
oh.
even an issue.
I was like, be careful there. It is not debatable whether I have a penis.
Well, no, it's debatable whether
issue.
she's disappointed that you do.
I don't know. Suddenly, let me give you my phone number to change to, okay, see you later.
There's been a few times that we've been at some events, and I've been like, I need to put LoJack on him. Like, can someone hand me, the injectable pen so that if he comes up missing, I don't have to check every garage in the country.
What?
Well, honey, here's the thing, and this is your problem, and I've seen it with other gay men. They don't realize when people are flirting with them. Unless, they're handsy-handsy. And then I'll have to step in and go, oh, I don't think so. I don't know what you were thinking, but that ain't going to happen today. Because people flirt and are sweet and nice to you all the time, and you're like, huh, I didn't even see that. And it's like, oh, dear God. He has blinders on, and he doesn't even realize it.
Oh, no. I am that gay man. I've heard of this.
Yes.
Like, I have. And the classic story is two of my friends, they were, a couple. They were at the grocery store. One half of the couple is, like, they were both getting flirted with, but one of them is totally oblivious. The other one is like, I see where this is headed. And the bag boy was a bag boy at a grocery store. And it's like, hi, can I take your groceries out to the car? And there's like 2 bags. And so, of course, the oblivious one says, no, we can carry 2 bags, thanks. Like, what are you, stupid? Like, I don't need help with this. Why would I need help with this? And the other one is like, I swear to God, are you on this planet? I've become that one.
You have.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store for groceries. I'm not trying to pick someone up and take them home. Most of the time. I don't know. We've seen some guys at the grocery store, though. It's like, that needs a bag. Like, does Kroger have a bag for that? I don't care if it's reusable. I'll buy the reusable bag for this one. Like,
Right.
Yeah. But no, I'm not totally oblivious. I did catch on very well to the one guy at the gas station. Totally not oblivious to him that night. I was like, actually, I was more surprised we didn't get home and find him in the trunk. Like I was.
Well,
I was actually surprised we
did
not find
him in the trunk. I would have sent him back.
Aww, but he was okay. Yeah, he was tiny. It would have been awkward the whole time. Like, this poor guy. He was cute as a button, but he was, like, cute as a button the way you say it about a 10-year-old. Because he was, like, that height and, like, that build. And it's like, oh, you poor baby. Oh, some little bear gonna squish you. It's like, you're cute.
I get health insurance.
Yeah, really? You know.
Yeah.
911, what's your emergency? Oh, my God. The bears mauled him.
I could see it on the 5 o'clock news now.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
But no, but I was not oblivious. There was no being oblivious with this boy. Like, dear sweet Jesus. He just had this face that was like Puss in Boots in the Shrek movies, where it's just like the big giant eyes that are like, take me home with you, please.
Get me
like,
out of here.
Leave me here alone, would you? You know. Like, what the hey? Like, good Lord, boy. I tell you to look for someone your own size, but my God, playgrounds are probably a bad place for you. Jesus.
Yes.
Oh. He was so tiny. He was so tiny. Tiny little man.
But yeah, you become that one that you don't realize it. You know, it's like we were at Starbucks, and we order our coffees. And, you know, I noticed the barista dude wasn't even hitting the map. You know, it wasn't like, the meter did not even read. It was just like, okay. Get my coffee, and it has a friend of ours' name on it, and I'm like, I'm going to kill him. by
yeah,
murder.
we're totally not even, like, we're normally nice to our friends and we don't announce their names on air. Yeah, Roger. Yeah, we're calling Roger out for this one. It's like, stop handing out our pictures. We know you're lonely.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you're lonely. All of Grindr knows you're lonely. You are the thirstiest boy on the East Coast. We've got it, Roger. Stop sending out our pics trying to trick someone in the middle of the night. Not cool, dude.
Very not cool. And I was like, all right.
I don't think he's actually doing that. I wouldn't put it past him, but I don't think he's actually doing that.
I think he is.
Like, stop using your face pic.
Face pics or anything else. Knock it the hell off. You know, I want to be able to, you know, I'm spending at least 2 days at this lovely establishment. You know, and I'm quite sure within those 2 days, unless he's a shitty barista, and he wasn't, me and him will get to know each other very well. It'll probably be the last time I was there for a month. All I had to do was walk in the building. It was already pre-ordered, hand them my card, and they knew immediately handing the drink. Otherwise, he will maul you.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Most people at Starbucks figure that out about you real quick.
Well, yes. You know, it's like when we go to the hospital, I have no problem with anything there. They have seen me in action.
Well, true. True. Very true. But, yeah. No, I'm just like, Yeah, there was a moment, like, of all the names that could have been misheard and put on a cup. Yeah. Yes. Likely story.
All right.
Like, you were up. It's like, dude, we know you were up here while you were working on your degree. We understand you were thirsty. We see what has happened now. Yes. But, Yeah, so for our listeners, I now have to have another spinal fusion. Yay! Like joy of joys.
And,
which was probably, like, you know, like, that's never news you want to get at the doctor's office. That is not, like, a thing you want to contemplate. And, like, my surgeon was offering, like, no positives.
Yeah.
It's like, we're basically going to go in and try to stop you from causing yourself more damage. You're not going to regain functionality or see any improvement to your symptoms. Also, here's the legal things that I have to tell you. You could possibly die during surgery. You know, like, dude, could you at least do this with hand puppets? Like, God, your delivery sucks.
Yeah, that's because he used to not do that speech. He's being made to do that speech because the nurses have looked at him and said, "Oh no, buddy boy, that is your speech."
Yeah, well, I'm sure the lawyers for the hospital also looked at him and said, nah, you get to do this one.
Yeah,
but
you know, I know that speech.
It is. It's kind of, yeah.
Right. I know that speech.
Well, and it's, you know, I've already had one fusion. I've already had one fusion. I've already heard the speech. He very quickly got that, so he was kind of zooming through it, not to mention, you know, at this point in the appointment, we were now running late for the CT scan that should have been scheduled before the appointment so that he didn't have to do the, you know, multiple choice surgery tree, because we were having that whole discussion of, well, depending upon the CT, we may have to do this, or we could do this, or we could do that, or we might have to do this. Dude, really? Could you have not just canceled my appointment and been like, go get your CT and then reschedule?
with his
But,
availability,
at that point, I know, still. Yeah. So, fun.
And that's a problem when you're dealing with one of the tops, and I mean more than a top. He's one of the top physicians in the country, very good hands. I don't play pinky nice with doctors. They know not to play pinky nice with me. They tend to realize that I know your shit, and I can override your shit, and I know where you're headed. And believe me, before you entered this room, I knew what you were, who you were, and exactly how well your insurance was.
Yeah, well, I just personally like my last fusion experience in which he handed that speech off to some underling. Yeah, got the speech, whatever about the speech, yada, yada, yada about the speech. I didn't even meet my last surgeon until 5 minutes before, surgery. He kind of came in, how's it going? I'll be your surgeon today. Do you have any questions? And I'm kind of laying there well, you've already given me the first half of this cocktail to knock me out. Nah, I'm pretty good right now, dude. And, okay, let's rock and roll. They already had me laid out on the little, balance beam with the, the cross, basically. I don't know, where TV gets this idea that surgery is done on, a gurney. It's not done on a gurney. You're not on a metal table. You're on a pole. It's basically, let's take a balance beam, shove it between your butt cheeks, strap your arms, out from your body, and good luck keeping your legs on it. That was the situation I was in. I'm like, who does this? Where?
A lot of
no. No, no, I want a full table. Full table. Full table. That's my thing now. No. I'm paying for a full table. I want a full table. I'm paying for a surgical suite. I would like a full surgical suite. But, Yes.
But,
at least give me a full.
Some of those tables, ones like the balance beam allows them to rotate you easily. They can actually turn you upside down or whatever way they need to do, whereas the metal gurney is more for appendectomies, stomach, and heart. You were messing with a back surgeon. He's going to have you to where he can flip and move you any way he needs to.
Yeah. I'm just saying, knock me out before you take me and throw me on the balance beam. That's all I'm saying. You want to put me on a balance beam, but let me not be awake for that. Let me not have that, I'm half drugged, let's walk down a hall, and by the way, do you think you can get on this balance beam? Really? Really?
That's insane.
Really? I'm half drugged right now. Right now. Yeah. No. Whole time he was doing his hi, nice to meet you, I'll be your surgeon speech. Yeah, I'm just sitting here going, I have cold metal touching my butthole. I have cold metal touching my butthole. That's all I could think. I was so drugged, that was the only thought I had, was the immediate stimulus of cold metal against my butthole. I'm like, no, this is not an experience of my surgery I should remember.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to tell them to up your drugs.
Yeah, really? That'd be nice. Lots of drugs, please. Lots of drugs.
Well,
I want to feel nothing until, March.
Right. Late July, after I've done put you into the gym and gotten you into working out 3 times a week.
Yeah. Can I get the Michael Jackson cocktail, please? Michael Jackson cocktail. That's what I want. You can pick me anywhere you want to pop me.
So a little bit of belladonna will take care of it, not a problem.
Alrighty. Sounds great.
Yeah, he's been in a mood. For our listeners, if you haven't, I asked him what he wanted for dinner on Wednesday. Poor thing said, "Can I have a mandrake salad?" And I'm like, "That's a root."
No,
like
I asked
licorice.
hold on. I asked for mandrake and foxglove salad with cyanide dressing. And you pointed out the whole, foxglove's not in season and mandrake tastes like licorice, and I'm like, fine. Can you just marinate chicken in, cyanide and call it a day? That was where I was at. That was my neighborhood. That's where I was living on Wednesday. It was like, kill me now. Like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't have talk. My throat hurt. Like everything was screwed up. I couldn't half hear. It was like I think I was probably awake for a grand total of between all the naps of like 4 or 5 hours on Wednesday. Yeah. I was like, nah, just kill me now. Just kill me now.
All right. Well, at least you got a really nice, really nice boss that doesn't really care as long as his schedule's done by Sunday, so he knows what the hell he's doing. Everything else can rock along.
Yeah, and it has this week.
Yeah, it has. It's
like
been
last
good.
night was really cooking.
Yes.
But yeah. Like, is that a record for Keen? Like, I'm not going to go into actual numbers, but, like, was that a record night for Keen?
Add another 10%, it would have been.
Wow. Okay. Still, pretty awesome.
Yeah. Very much up. Very much good. Very much, just bring me coffee. And because I can't have a conversation with you because I have to come back to you, out of Alpha Wave to have a conversation.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know. I think there was 5 straight hours you couldn't even get to the bathroom last night.
Correct. I actually messaged them and said, "Can you please put a table in the bathroom? Just a table. Doesn't have to be anything fancy or big."
Yeah. No, we're not putting a table in the bathroom. Nope, not happening.
All right. Well, I get water damage. I don't want to hear about it.
Yep.
But that's one of the weird things
you won't
that
hear
occurs
about it.
with
You
their...
won't hear... You will not hear that shovel coming at your head. You won't feel a thing. But no.
But that's one of the weirder things about us and about my life. And, it's something that I've ran into with family members or other family members as an independent contractor, as an independent, owning your own business. It's kind of like, are you doing okay? Do you need some money? And it's like, what?
Well, we could always use money. Like, if you're looking for gifts for us, dollar bill green is one of my favorite shades. But I really love the feel of plastic with that black strip on the back. Woo, gets me hot.
See, I'm more old-fashioned. I love Benjamin. Benjamin Franklin has a glorious photo.
We totally accept PayPal.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yes. Love me some PayPal.
That kind of brings up a future thing we're going to be doing. We will be launching a Patreon for this network. And then that'll give you perks or, we're still figuring out what we're going to do with it. It's just been pointed out that a lot of people want us to have one. So, yeah, we'll be doing that. maybe a special radio show or even a live cast or something to that effect. We'll figure that out.
Yeah. But no, financially speaking, no, we're not going out and buying an Escalade as much as he wants one. We are not going out and buying an Escalade. We are not having caviar for dinner every night. I'm kind of glad on that one.
Me too.
But, financially, we're okay. We could be a lot worse. I mean, and especially when you consider we are, the house is paid for.
Mm-hmm.
One, generationally own a house. We only have the one car payment.
Right.
We've hit our mid-30s, so, insurance is now cheap, as long as you don't get a sports car. But insurance is now cheap. We don't have, a massive looming ton of credit card debt.
Right.
We've got the one card, and the balance is kind of meh, not really important. It's a low-limit card. I didn't want anything big. But, it's not that much. We don't have a lot of things that are, looming and, oh, my God, we could lose everything tomorrow. No, we're not there. We're actually doing really good, age-wise especially. Not many people are, and I'm not bragging because I know a lot of people are out there struggling to make car payments and rent payments and, and I'm sure to them our life sounds like a total dream. I would just love to be in that position. So, and that's kind of what we're saying is we're really not doing that bad. There are way more people doing a whole lot worse. And I will go ahead and say, I don't care how much you appreciate the show. If you sign up for our Patreon and you're out there struggling, don't. I will flat out say that. If you're struggling under the weight of, rent and car payments and you don't know what you're eating for dinner tonight, do not sign up for our Patreon. I'm having my Susie Orman moment of, whoa, don't do that. What you thinking? What you thinking? But anyway, sorry, that's my soapbox. But I do know that, sometimes there's that feeling with, Patreons and stuff, that it doesn't seem that expensive, and it isn't. A lot of them aren't really high cost per month. And so a lot of people will throw money towards those because they really enjoy the content. They really, they want to connect, but it's also one of those things of check yourself. I know it's only $1. I get that. I know, or you know what I mean? Or it's only $5 or it's only $10 or, but no, take care of yourself first. Always take care of yourself first. If you're out there and you're struggling, take care of yourself first. You don't need Patreon. That should not be a word in your vocabulary. Don't even. Forget the charities. Charity starts at home. And if you're struggling, be charitous to yourself.
Exactly. And, and it's not like we're starting it to keep the station going. We're starting it because people are saying, do you have one? You need one. We'd like to do this. Why don't you do this? And a lot of things get started. A lot of Patreons get started that way. It's not because you need it. It's far from you need it. It's more so for us. And, this was brought up ages ago for us to do, and it's we really don't want to, but we get tired of the emails. We get tired of, the promoters going, well, do you have this? Do you have this?
Well, some of it is also, I think we were struggling with what do we put into a Patreon? you know, I'm struggling there. Like, that's, I think, our biggest holdback on, like, setting up Patreon, going ahead and launching that, is, like, what do we want to put in there? Like, I want to make sure it's worth it. Like, you're going to send me even if you're just going to send us, like, $1 a month or whatever. Like, because we haven't figured out what we're setting tiers up at. But, like, even if you're sending $1 a month, I want to make sure you're getting something for $1. Like, you know, like, and I don't mean physically, but I mean, like, you're going to actually get something that at the end of the month you're going to be like, really, only $1? Or whatever amounts we set. It's going to be like, wow, that was totally more than worth it. That's kind of me. That's kind of my thing. Under promise, over deliver. You know, that's the, you know, I'm one of those people, if I think I can do it in 2 weeks, I'll say 3. Because everyone likes getting it on, you know, early. No one ever likes it when it's like the last day of 3 weeks and you're turning it in. You know, so always under promise, over deliver. You'll make everyone happier. Lessons learned from my father. It's what we had to do for our curfews. You know, because he was one of those people, if you showed up, like if your curfew was 9 and you showed up at 9, you're late. You're always late at 9. Don't care if it is 9:00:00, you're late. You show up at 8:59, the man was perfectly happy, the world was a wonderful place. But if you show up at 9 at your 9 o'clock curfew, you might as well stay out for 3 weeks because he's going to be just as mad at 9:00:00 as he's going to be 3 weeks later if you come home, you know, drunk, stoned, with a baby. Like, it's going to be just as bad.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know one thing I want to do is like a private group on Facebook for, you know, Coffee Shop Network. That's been one thing that I've bounced in my head for our Patreons. That way they kind of get limited, you know, they get special content, special access to some things. Probably some type of like YouTube live, private live, where you guys get to actually talk back to us, because we don't get a lot of that, you know, and it's more than just asking questions. You get to, you know, figure out maybe a little bit more about us. You'll get some extra photos, maybe brought along for some things we go and do.
Maybe some behind the scenes of the events stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that being a thing, because I know you're already doing videos on, like, on our way to events and stuff like that. But no, maybe some of the behind the scenes stuff, because some of the events we've been to, I think it would be really cool to see, like, the setup, because, like, the finished product, like, especially for one of them, was amazing. But there was that, like, moment when it's like, almost showtime, we're just getting there, you know, not everything's come together yet. And, you know, the house lights are up and all that stuff. And, you know, well, there's actually been a few events like that. There's the one party every year that you go to that, I swear to God, until like 10 minutes before that thing actually kicks off, it's like, I cannot believe people paid this much money to be here. Like, oh my God. You know, like, really? This looks like garbage. And then all of a sudden, like, 5 minutes till gate open on this event, it all, like, snaps together, and the place is amazing. I don't know how, like, every year it's the same thing. 10 minutes before gate open, it just looks like a wreck. Like, what are you doing? What were you thinking? You are not going to pull this off. And 5 minutes later, they have all their crap together. Life is perfect. The venue looks amazing. and they're good to go. I don't know how this happens every year, because every time we show up at that event, it's like, are we on the right night? Like, did we make an oops? Like, do you need help?
Yeah, and we do a lot of things like that. I'm a part of a lot of things like that. Beltane in the force. It's like, are you sure you done this right? And it's like, yeah. Don't we need to do this? No, that don't work.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Now, I don't know how. Like, that's a tier 3 or whatever the highest tier is. That like insight video to the behind the scenes of Beltane. That is going to be you're going to be sending me like $100 a month. I don't care. If you've got to see our sad asses pulling out of bed and getting on the road at like 4 in the morning. No.
Right.
Like, like 11, I'll consider it. I'll consider that being an included video, but no. Like, this was Zombie Fest this year. Good.
Really, it wasn't that bad. We actually got to sleep until 5. There's been mornings I've gone to bed at 3, gotten up at 4, rolled out and done it.
Yeah.
And that's just because I'm used to these, a lot of things that are big for people. I'm like, no, not really. Not necessary.
No, see, we've already had this conversation. I need 4.5 hours sleep, period, in the discussion. I got to have it. Like, if you're waking me up before 4.5 hours, this is Zombie Central. You better have coffee and a human sacrifice. Because,
normally I have coffee.
You know
sacrifice is debatable.
Well, there's always coffee. But no, like Beltane morning, I was zombie mode. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm operating a vehicle at 70 miles an hour. Cool. Wake me when we're there.
Right.
Like, why are these people screaming and interrupting my nap? Shut up. But
by that time I was already on game and moving. And going like, this is normal. Yay, I got extra sleep. Let's move.
But no, there was that for the morning of Beltane. It really does finally start to come together 10 minutes before gate open, and even at that, there was a point in that morning. It was like, we are never going to get all these people set up. We're never going to get them set up. This is not going to happen because especially the vendors that show up with 2 minivans worth of stuff. It's like, are you kidding me right now? You have one booth. It's 10 by 10. You have 2 vans of stuff. Not people and stuff. Stuff.
Yeah. Love that booth. Love them. They come in. They do all their stuff.
They're amazing.
Just give them a place. They come
great.
in, and it's mad science. Snap, snap, snap together.
Oh, yeah. It was great, and the final product was awesome. But there's a point when they're showing up, and they're like, no, we're both for the same booth. And it's like, oh, God. Did someone lie to you and tell you 100 by 100 on your booth space? Did you misread? This is a 10-foot by 10-foot booth. Where are you putting? I don't know. They invented space. It was amazing. It was great. Hopefully, being connected to a different dimension will not harm the park in any way, shape, or form. Though we may be losing that space to the airport, so, maybe they'll put a runway right through that hole and it'll be great. I'm just saying, if our entire, executive branch in the state of West Virginia were to all be on a plane and fly through a wormhole, I don't think anyone would notice for a while.
No. Of course, I also think our executive branch of West Virginia is already in another dimension. That's the problem. They don't have a clue.
Well, there is some of that. There's a fair amount of that. But, it's been crazy. This new education bill sounds like a nightmare. So West Virginia now has charter schools. We're going to be getting 3 immediately until, 2023, and then 3 year thereafter. Or something like that. Anyway, it's supposed to put more money into public education. It doesn't. Yeah, it was a very controversial bill. Our governor didn't even bother scheduling a press op for that. So that's when it's really crap. He wants no memory of this being attached to him. Yeah. This is going to be a crap bill. This is going to be a crap
through. Totally forced it through. I think he totally forced it through. And here's my thing. And a lot of...
Well, they totally waited till the middle of summer when it's the teachers won't be protesting, at least not in a noticeable, felt by every, taxpayer in the state kind of way. They can come protest, but it's not going to be little Jimmy had to stay home from school today and mommy's a little ticked. So, reach out to your legislatures and, kill them. Like it was earlier in the year. Because that's basically where that got to very quickly. And it did, but, so they totally waited till the summer session, and, but no, we're going to have charter schools now, which should be great, right? That'll totally work out. What could possibly go wrong?
Right. It won't work out. I've seen them before. They're a joke. West Virginia needs private schools. Let's start with private. Okay? And then once we have private schools, then we can look at charter schools.
Well, no, that's generally the theory, though. Well, I mean, and it's not like West Virginia doesn't have private schools. We have them all over the state. They're just called Christian schools. They teach a dumbed-down yeah, whatever. They still call themselves private schools. They're still not subject to education requirements. You do not get an actual high school diploma, but it meets the requirements so as to not, be considered truant. I.e., your child's not truant. They are going to a school. Good luck on that one. But no, I've seen the education. It's a total dumbed down, just nightmare. And then it's segregated by gender. Because of course you want the girls to be dumber than the boys, because not that it matters in terms of that, because of course they're just supposed to spread their legs and pump out children once they get married. So it's not like they really need to know anything. But yeah, be able to count so you know how many will fit into the van. And that's basically it.
Right.
I mean, it's a total Duggar setup kind of nonsense, But yeah, that's what you get. It's not actually accredited. If you want to technically meet the requirements for employment, you leave from your quote-unquote high school graduation, and then you go over to the county and get your GED. Because otherwise, you might as well have dropped out. And a lot of the people that go to get their GEDs really, really struggle. And not everyone, not every school is that bad, but so many of them are, that it's like, I'm sorry, I cannot see this as a reasonable education alternative. And I kind of expect that's where charter schools are going to end up. Not because there are probably going to be a few that try to become charter schools that are going to really be religious schools in disguise. But there's also going to be the fact of this is for-profit education. And realistically, nonprofit education's already broke. How well you think for-profit's going to do? Like, you got to start squeezing these margins a little harder. I don't think it's going to work out. I think it's going to actually just create more problems for more students. You're going to end up with schools borderlining bankruptcy or insolvency, like we can't even pay our flipping teachers, because they're no longer getting tax money. Then in turn, I'd say you'd probably see a slowly evolving, like once we start this ball rolling and we have more and more charter schools, I think what you're going to eventually see is they're going to start moving out of communities. So once they've bankrupted the public education system and the schools are falling into complete dilapidation and disaster, and, oh, by the way, we don't have money for, light, then you're going to see that these charter schools go, okay, well, we've gotten everything we can get from here. Let's move on down the road. If you'd like to follow us, it's now a 45-mile drive to get to school every day. And if you don't, you can always go back to public education, and the 5 teachers that have held on. It is. Like, this is another outside interest rape and pillage. No, this is another outside interest rape and pillage of West Virginia that everyone's being told is going to bring prosperity and wonderful opportunities. That isn't. That's going to further trash the state and then turn around and blame us for our own problems. Also,
and,
cool, but,
Yes, but also with this and all the crap going on with this, I want to see the pork. There's got to be pork in that bill. There's got to be something that's going to mess up because they can't teach now. They got to get test scores. There's no teaching about it.
There's a lot of conforming education requirements just to meet testing requirements. And granted, I will say I went through right as that was starting to become the issue, is that our test scores were so low. We've got to get those test scores up. And we started, twisting our education towards, standardized testing, which became a joke. Because ultimately, by the time we did that, we got our test scores up. Our test scores were amazing. Then they turned around and said that, testing's not really all that important, and, now we have to consider the quality of education. And it's like, so you're basically saying because the dumb hillbillies managed to do it, then obviously the tests are flawed? That's what we got out of it, is West Virginia worked so hard. All of us kids worked so hard. All of our teachers worked so hard trying to get us to meet testing standards so that our scores would dramatically improve. And they did. we were suddenly looking so amazing in testing. And then all of a sudden they come back and it's like, well, testing's not really all that important, and now we have to question the quality of education. And that's where I was. It's like, so the dumb hillbillies figured out how to do it. Yeah. But no, to me, I don't think that either way is wrong. I do disagree with teaching towards testing requirements to an extent. I don't think either one necessarily impugns the education. I think you may get more out of one than you do another in terms of, like, they offer different things. If you're trying to get kids into college as your primary goal, then yes, standardized testing will do a lot for that. But if you're trying to do, basic learning and, not preparing these kids for college, then no, standardized testing just tells a lot of people you're too stupid to function. Or more importantly, makes them feel that way. Because there's a lot of people that hate that. They are very intelligent. They are very capable. They are wonderful human beings. But you put a standardized test in front of them, and that's just a recipe for, like, anxiety, ulcers, nervous breakdown, mental health issues, and a whole lot of I'm too stupid to pass, I'm too stupid to pass, I'm too stupid to pass. And I've seen that. I've seen kids absolutely lose it because they're so pushed on standardized testing that, by the time that test is there, they're not even coping. Like, they're beyond freaking out. They're just barely existing at this point. That if you could hand them the test or a gun with a single bullet, like 90% of them would pick up the gun and just be like, put me out of my misery.
Yes. Well, what I'm seeing, and, I have a very strong opinion on education. What I'm seeing come out of schools, out of house schools now, it's children that can't read. Children that have no idea when World War II was or what it was about. Children who have no creativity whatsoever. Children who, are built and designed to answer one test, empty the brain, and start over. I mean, come on. McDonald's, Walmart had to design software to tell them what change to give back. They don't know how to count money. They don't know how to open a bank account.
Well, but again, what we end up with standardized testing is it's more so standardized testing is about critical thinking skills. It's not about memorization. It's not about knowing, what year did the War of 1812 end. It's not about that kind of information. And arguably, ever since the advent of the Internet, how much have we really needed to memorize information? We're all walking around with information in our pocket. It's instantly available, will always be there, and that has been a big part of the 21st century is how much information do we need to keep? As long as we develop critical thinking skills, as long as we have the ability to take that information and do things with it, and to understand what we're reading and understand, complex thoughts. As long as we're getting there, I don't know that rote memorization ever did anything for us. On math, realistically, I think the bigger problem that we're having is that in a predominantly non-cash society, there's a lot of kids that even if you're sitting there, talking about, like, change in terms of, I don't think their problem is necessarily with the total was $9.55, I handed you a 10, I need 45 cents back. I think it's the actual problem of having so little hands-on experience with cash that it's almost a foreign concept. That so many of our transactions occur, and even for little kids, occur in that kind of credit arena, whether it's a lunch program where your parents get billed and so you don't carry lunch money, your parents just get a bill at the end of the month, or they have to prepay at the beginning of the month, whatever,
right.
all the way to their, by the time they're in high school, how many parents are handing their kids cash anymore? Most of these kids have some form of at least prepaid card, if not an actual card on their parents' account. Or some, not maybe on the primary account, but at least some kind of secondary account. And so much of their life is spent in digital currency, digital transaction, all of this. When you physically put them in front of cash, I think there's this, I understand, but I don't.
Right.
Like, it's that moment when you were like 5 and you couldn't quite get it. Like, you knew this was a nickel and it was 5. And you knew this was a dime and it's 10. I think that's where the problem comes in, is so much of, previous generations' lives were spent with cash. Giving a baby a quarter, or at least a toddler, so, but giving a kid a quarter, they learned really quick that this is money and I can, put it in a gumball machine and get a thing. You quickly, instantaneously learn commerce.
Right.
Gumball machines are almost a thing of the past. You rarely see them anymore. And most of those are now getting more and more expensive. Pardon?
I see them every day.
I don't see that many anymore. I really don't. Like, and maybe it's the obliviousness of adulthood, but I don't know. I don't see
everywhere.
Okay.
But no, I see them everywhere. Even at like most restaurants, they're there. But what I'm saying is, like, here's an example. The book The Last of the Wise. Big influencer book for you, right?
Yes.
For me, it was Grapes of Wrath or, Huck Finn. Teachers can't teach literature anymore. They've got to teach everything else except literature. They've got to teach everything else except what I call the importance, the things that are like, oh my God, okay, I get this concept of, this occurred because of this, so this is the chain of command of events, and this is how you can dissect it, and this is what the author's trying to say, but really isn't. They aren't teaching it.
Well, now that's becoming a college-level thing. And it is. I'm sorry, it is. And in many ways, I think what is happening with education is a lot of that stuff is moving to into that college level. It's moving there because, one, you're right, with testing there isn't a lot of time for that. But two, the ultimate question becoming is, can you form a fully functional adult without it?
Right.
And I think a lot of education systems are saying, yeah, you can. You can. And they do. And there are. Now, do I think in many ways it probably reduces some richness of life experience? Yeah. Do I necessarily think that that's something that public education needs to concern itself with? Because ultimately, this was supposed to be a minimum basic education. Enough that you could navigate life if you don't go any further. Like, you get to the end of high school, you graduate in 12th grade, you never you never crack another book.
Mm-hmm.
If you graduate the 12th grade, do you have the minimum skills to show up to work on time, effectively do the math to balance a checkbook, even if that's not an actual skill taught, but the ability to do the basic math of addition and subtraction? Can you multiply and divide? Can you form a at least coherent sentence on paper or now on screen? Can you, as long as you ultimately can graduate 12th grade with those abilities, I think a lot of education is starting to really question, why are we bothering?
Right.
A lot of this is only going to apply to people who go on to college. So why are we sitting here in high school trying to teach these kids how to do to learn skills and concepts that they're never going to touch again? Because to be quite honest, I do know people that their education stopped at high school and that was it. And they've never opened another book since. They have, most of the skills they learned in high school were redundant, like as an unnecessary, did not need. Like the classes they struggled in, they have never used a thing from. So you start to question, is it worth it? If you're not going on to a college level, is it worth it? Do you really need to understand as much as they're trying to teach in order to live a successful life? If ultimately you consider successful to be a job that will only require you to have that education level. And many people have those jobs, and many people will work them until retirement or death. And,
and I get that.
Ultimately, you
but
have
if
to
they
sit
can't
here
look
and
at their
question.
paycheck,
Uh-huh.
They can't look at their paycheck and tell if they did not get all their pay. Happened a few times, especially when you have, accounting people switching and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
What's the use?
Honestly, companies find that amazing. They love employees who can't read a paycheck and know if they're getting paid properly. As long as it's in the company's favor. But yeah, they get a little annoyed if it goes the other way, but at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's a perfect education system. I'm just saying I think this is the legit conversation that education's starting to have. Is did we go too far? And or what do we cut? And that's probably the bigger question, especially with the limited funding for education that they have been facing for decades now. Of what more do we cut? How can we cut? How can we streamline? And so when you're throwing in concepts like privatization of education, ultimately that's what you're going to end up with, is that's just going to go further and further. Now, to me, it sounds like a very foreign, alien, horrible concept to sit here and think of ripping literature. We'll keep English class, like you'll do your grammar, but we're going to rip out literature. I think that's horrible. There's a lot of things that I think would be horrible to lose in education.
Yes.
But when you consider the number of people that, barely graduated, ended up in, I don't want to be insulting, but they were bonehead classes, to barely, pass those, who go out and they work and they have a job, and maybe they have a wonderful job, and or they start their own business, with a skill they have. If that's the case, then how far do we have to push education in order to make that possible? Because that was the original goal. It was not to create, the next Hemingway or, anything like that. If you look at education pre-World War II, a lot of what we were doing was very basic in many ways. Now, a lot of it was based on rote memorization, which has its own problems. You had a lot of kids that could sit there and recite things, but when you go to ask them questions, they have no idea what the words they just said meant. But they can stand there and they can recite it over and over and over again. Don't ask them any questions. So do they know anything? No. They don't know anything. And a lot of education pre-World War II was built on very stereotypical gender roles. Of, girls don't need to learn math, they need home economics, and, very much like what, the Christian education I was just trashing earlier does now. Women aren't worth anything, so we're not going to teach them anything because they don't need to know anything. And then the effort was placed on boys to really buckle down and learn more. Even if that, while there was an assumption some of these boys are going to go on to college, there was still an understanding that many of them would not. Of those that didn't, someone's going to work in a restaurant till they die, and someone's going to pick up garbage till they die, and someone's going to do this. And it wasn't an insult. These are things that our community needs. Every community needs a grocery store. Every community needs a restaurant. Every community is going to need a garbage man. And within those, while there are skills you will need, while there are aptitudes you will need to have, while there are, things you need to know how to do, those aren't necessarily specific to every kid. And if you can introduce them to the concept and push them a little further, then yeah, you can potentially do a lot less educationally up to the point in which you're dealing with a student that's going on to college. And even then, a lot of what we're seeing is we've seen a massive, push down of, college-level classes or college-level concepts as they used to be into high school education. Trig and calculus, and those were not always such a big deal at the high school level. They are fundamentals of college. If you don't get these concepts, you're going to have some big trouble in a real big hurry. But as far as high school, do you really need to take trig and calculus and algebra? And not really. Back when I was in high school, there was also a class called business math, a.k.a. bonehead math. Bonehead math. In, out, done, meet your state requirement for a math class, out the door you go. You're not going to learn any high functional things, but as long as you pass the class, we can certainly guarantee you can do basic math.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, you can theoretically hire someone else to do the rest. Now, does that mean you can look over your own look over your shoulder or their shoulder and make sure that they're not screwing you? No.
Nope.
So I hope you trust the person you're getting to do that. But still, ultimately, at what point does public education need to concern itself? And I think that's the question that public education is getting to the point of asking. What's our bare minimum? And how little resources do we need to do that? And then trying to hold off the vultures and stay above the minimums. Like,
Right.
I think that's where education is. And I think that the vultures are closing in really close. To picking it apart. But,
Right. Well, in my opinion, I like the German system. Around 14, 15, you take a test. Test tells you where your aptitudes are, where your talents are, where your interests are. That way, if you're not set to be a doctor, you don't take biology. If you're set to be a banker, you better take business math, and here's some basic accounting classes, and let's get you on the way to college.
Or at least into a business, like an associate's business.
Right.
Yeah, and I can certainly see the value of those things. And I'm sure in many countries that is a very valuable thing. However, if we're going to pretend there's still an American dream, we have a fundamental problem, which is, and it's the one that education's been built around, is that you can grow up to do anything you want to. You can be anything. And if we're gearing our education towards that, and we're literally looking at every kid and going, what do you need to be like everything? And setting them up in classes so that they can do that. And then hopefully in the grading system should have been trying to give them some feedback of like your talents lie elsewhere. Which is actually a direct quote from a college professor about my sister taking a piano class after her first recital. Your talents lie elsewhere. Harsh, but true. But unfortunately, we've veered so far from that. You have so many teachers that don't want to discourage students or hurt them or see their schools suffer, or their careers suffer, because they're flunking too many kids, or too many kids can't pass your class, so obviously the curriculum's too hard. What are you doing? It's easier to pass them. It's easier to give everyone A's and not deal with their cranky-ass parents. It's easier to just keep pushing them through, especially when you're not giving teachers the tools to actually do what they need to do. And I think one of the biggest missed opportunities is that, no, we don't have individual education plans, which is ultimately what you're talking about. For
IEP.
Every child, not just, quote unquote, special needs students. I appreciate those for them. That's a wonderful thing and a wonderful concept. Now let's go do that with the rest of the classroom. Because not all these kids are going to college. Not all these kids ought to go to college. A lot of these kids are going to end up owing a lot of money and wasting a lot of time going to college.
Right. And see, I think IEPs and Westinghouse testings should be done on every child.
Well, yeah,
Every time.
and then I think there's a period there where you try to, and make it a little broad, not necessarily narrow it down, but at least get a kid on a right path, and stop sticking, the art kid in flippin' trig. Like,
right.
I'm so sorry every time I see, like, a kid whose parents are, like, pushing them to go do this. Because money will be better if you go do this. Money will be better. So they force this kid in classes that they just sit there and, like, they're bored, they're angry, they're struggling. And they're like, why am I here? What am I doing? Like, I don't understand this. I don't care about this. I don't want to do this. Why am I here? And I'm not saying every art kid is necessarily bad at math, but you get what I'm saying. If the kid has an interest in trig and that somehow relates in the future to their art, then that's great.
Right.
But not necessarily push a kid into that class. Because you're basically setting this kid up for failure most times. You're judging a fish by how well it can climb a tree. Like, yeah, the kid's gonna feel like a total failure and a dumbass and
Right.
Why are you setting your kid up for failure here?
Well, not only
or
that.
more importantly, okay.
Okay, the problem I see a lot of times is you have students who are taking this and that and, are failing. The reason they're failing failing at it is it's too simple. So they get bored and their BD comes out, and then we've got other issues going on. If you have a beginning, you run a Weston test on them, it shows where their aptitude already is, like at first grade, they're reading on a fifth grade level, their math skills are at third grade, their social skills are at second grade, and they're a tactile learner, well, boom, you move them there. And they can take advanced math or advanced science then.
Well, some of it is taking advanced classes, and some of it is we've really got to divorce ourselves from the notion of grade levels, and focus more on skills and abilities. If you're a 12th grader with fifth grade math skills, and your aptitude is for something non-business, or you're not going to become an electrical engineer, then a fifth grade math education is probably fine.
Right.
Or sixth grade, or seventh grade. It's not going to really be a big deal, because ultimately what you end up with is, going back to kind of my point, you end up with kids who sit here and they struggle with 12th grade English.
Right.
Okay, so they sit there and they go through this class and they don't get it. Like, the grammar doesn't mean crap to them, the literature doesn't mean crap to them, like all the books and crap you have to read for 12th grade English and write a paper and all this crap. For a lot of kids, it's never going to work. It was never going to be pretty. It was never going to be, fun and exciting. And most of those kids do not go on to do things that would ever require those skills. But we sat there, we made them go through this class, and they barely passed it. You sit there with parents telling them, how could you be so stupid, and I don't understand how you can't pass a stupid 12th grade English class, which ultimately says the same thing. I don't know how you're the stupid, or, whatever. And they build up this concept that they suck.
Right.
And what you ultimately end up with is someone that, because part of their skills, abilities, and aptitudes were not going to cover 12th grade English, went through a class with stress and frustration and ultimately anger, as well as, this general sense of, I'm stupid, I'm no good at English, I don't know how to read, blah, 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 blah. And what you ultimately see is that's crap people carry with them for a lifetime.
Exactly.
How many people do I run across in my business interest of, I'm not good with computers. I swear to God, it feels like every client starts the conversation with, I'm not any good with computers.
Right.
And it's like, no, you're not an expert with computers. Got that. You obviously managed to do enough to get paid by your boss, so you're good at what you need to do on a computer. I don't need you, your boss does not need you to fix it. Your boss does not need you to understand error messages. Your boss does not need you to be able to do this advanced skill set, as long as you meet the requirements of your job.
Right.
And in that regard, you are great with computers. But instead, we have this accumulation of things that we pick up. And every time I hear a client say that, I know that someone has made fun of their abilities. Someone has sat there and laughed at them for doing something the hard way. That someone's grabbed a mouse out of their hands. That someone has spent a bunch of time talking over them in very technical terms. These are things I know. Is that someone somewhere has sat there and talked to this person like they're a total flippin' moron.
Right.
And not in the good way. Because I've dealt with some people that I'm like, I don't know what you're getting paid for. But still, okay, let me, and to be rude about it, let me dumb it down for you, which is a core functionality of what I do for a living. It doesn't work if I approach a client and I'm talking, upper level technical jargon that they don't get. It doesn't help them. It doesn't tell them anything. They don't know what they're paying for. They don't understand the problem. If I leave there and all I've done is confuse them, aggravate them, annoy them, and hand them a bill and, fix their problem, hopefully, because there are people that I've seen in my field that don't even fix the problem. They just Band-Aid it so they get called in 6 months. But if I, and I fix their problem, what have I done? In a lot of cases, people have, because a lot of people have issues and problems that it's like, look, okay, here's what's actually happening. If you do this way, and, change the process they're going through, then it'll do this, which is the thing you wanted it to do, and it won't create the headache. And you won't have to call me. And, I've had a lot of people that have started that I'm not good with computers. And I'm like, if I can take an employee, now, and granted, she was a very smart, wonderful, clever person, but she had never touched a computer in her life. She knew nothing about computers. The only thing she'd used is a stupid little, literally, a dumb terminal, which is a keyboard, an over-glorified keyboard, attached to a monitor. feeds everything into a server. There's no mouse. There's no thoughts. There's no windows. There's no pop-ups. It is all dumb level computing.
Right.
That is everything she's done. Our office switched her over to, or we were going to. She was actually our last holdout. And it took a while to get her on a computer. And she looked at me and bawled her eyes out while we were on a smoke break about, I'm going to lose my job. I don't know how to use a computer. I've never touched a computer. I've never had a computer. I don't understand any of this. And what's a mouse? And it's like, okay, breathe. All right, we'll work it out. So two things occurred. One is I went to my boss and said, hey, look, we got one holdout and we're going to need a while. Like, she just had a panic attack. And two, I can work with her. It's not going to be a problem. So she did. Right. She got all excited. She went to Walmart. She bought a full $350 computer, I think it was. And she's like, okay, I have a computer. How soon can you get here? Because I don't even want to open the box yet. And I went, I'll be right there. Like, I just need directions to your house. Where do you live? And so I go over, we open the box, and I'm like, here you go. And she's like, no, I don't want to touch it. And I said, well, you're going to have to quickly get over that, because you're going to spend a lot of time doing that. And, so we went through a lot of those things, and more so made her do them. It's like, I need you to get comfortable with what I'm saying and listening and hearing, but I need you to get that tactile understanding when I say do this, that you know what you're touching, or what you're looking at or what you're seeing, and build that connection. And so that's what we did. We did that for like 3 weekends, and suddenly she's more proficient than half the office.
Right.
Like, she got it, she understood it, it clicked, she was good to go. If I can get someone that starts at that point, that granted had a very vested interest in keeping her job, and move her to the point that she's more proficient than half the office right now. She's got this. She knows what she's doing, she knows the terms, she understands what you're saying. Does she know how any of the internals work? Not a clue. All right. But I've connected all the dots together for her to at least understand from the previous system to this system. And, oh, by the way, I introduced her to the Internet and YouTube. Her family suffered greatly. I found it amusing.
Yes. But, that happens a lot, and it starts at those beginning levels. That's why, in our house I have you cannot decorate yourself in this house because enough of the degradation has gone on in this house. Or, and I also tell my clients, oh, no, you can't do that. You are not broken. You are not stupid. Because you have to break that somewhere.
Well, and at some point you have to really understand is you're being judged on something you're not good at. And that's okay. Not everyone's great at everything. And if you're being judged on something you're obviously not good at that you tried, I'm sorry, that grade's always an A because you tried.
Right.
You knew you weren't good at it. You knew you were going to probably fail, and you did it anyway. You get the A for effort. Not for the outcome, but you get the A for effort.
Right.
But so many people get used to being beaten up and failing, and being told their failures on top of it, and made fun of for the fact that they can't do something. And it's like, you know what? you got to move past that. Like, someone has given you really bad information. You know,
Yes.
if you can do what you need to do with it, and if you're happy with what you're able to do, you know, people in cell phones get that from every senior citizen who gets a touch-screen phone from their kids. I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to turn it on. I don't know what it's supposed to do for me. But my son, daughter, grandchild, whatever, bought me one. Help me, you know, that conversation.
Oh.
And it's like, you know, I'm never going to be good with that. I love, love, love when clients start that. I said, well, what do you want to know how to do? Turn it on. Get them to turn it on. I said, now you're good at that. So we just killed that one. What else you want to be good at? Eventually they get what I'm saying, and they start laughing about it. Usually any client I can get to laugh, I can make them run circles around that grandchild.
Right.
At least
but
in
at the
terms
same
of
time,
doing the things they want to do.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's like Mama Night. You know, we got her on Alexa, and she is just in love. Yes. You know, and now her neighbors are in love.
Yeah, we need to set her up with an affiliate link. Yeah, we need to set her up with an affiliate link and put a little sticker on her door and, like, send it to all her friends, because she has become a little salesman. Like, it was so weird, I have to say, and I'm sure she's probably listening, so sorry. But there was a moment, I know, there was a moment where recently she just started this conversation with the words, so how much did you pay for the Alexa? And it was one of those conversations, we're in a car. And I don't know where your mind went, but where mine went is, oh, God, she's knocked it over and destroyed it.
Nope.
And
that's
I'm like,
where my mind went.
Well, that's where mine went. And I'm like, well, not a whole lot. Like, I think that flew out of my mouth first, was, well, not a whole lot. You know, I didn't want her to feel bad if she'd knocked it over and broken it. It was like, yeah, we'll get you another one. Don't worry about it. You know, we're never going to tell her what we actually paid or what its actual value is. But, you know, but we did get it on sale. That was an honest statement. We saved a ton of money on it. When we bought it, you know, yay, Amazon and, you know, their specials. So what I said wasn't untrue, but it was that moment of like, oh my God, she's broken it, and this is how she's telling us. Oh dear Lord, that's where my mind went, and I was like, I'm not going to make her feel bad.
Oh no! See, I've had this conversation with my mother before. Because I know that tone in her voice when she is messed up and broke something. I also know the tone of that voice when she is on that, I can make a profit. I got to figure out the margin of this profit. You know, my mother has she has a 12th grade education, and then she went to nursing school for a year and a half.
Yeah.
At the same time, she grew up in one family-ran business, and then dealt with my father, who was a salesman. He could sell, even though he was a preacher and a nurse. I've seen that man sell people stuff at a flea market they don't need. That conversation that we had in the car about how much this Alexa was her trying to figure out her profit margin.
Yeah, I figured that out at the end of it, or you know, as the conversation progressed. But I'm talking that first moment as like, oh God, she broke it. I don't know how you broke it. We have knocked ours over like 5 times. It just hits the floor and rolls away. Because we got her the spot. Like,
oh, okay, yeah.
we didn't even start easy. We got her to the spot. We didn't get her the little, dot. We got her a spot. So I'm just sitting here going, we've knocked ours over plenty of times, and on concrete even. And it just it hits the floor, and then it just rolls away. And it's fine, it's happy, it's okay, it survived. But I'm like, and then I'm just running through my head immediately with coffee cup, she decided to wash it. I'm just now in her defense, it's not you have to realize I spend a lot of time with people who do things to computers, and then I have to sometimes sit there and just bite my tongue, try not to laugh, and go, well, that wasn't the best decision, but let's see what we can. When internally sometimes I'm screaming, what the hell were you thinking? Internally sometimes with Mullen. The woman who knocked the coffee onto her computer and then put her computer outside the sun to dry.
Right.
And so by the time I get it, the case is warped. This liquid has been held against the motherboard because she turned it upside down. Oh, woman, no. So she tells me all this. I'm standing there with a totally straight face. Internally, I'm like, not what you do. Not what you do.
Right.
Is what's going through my head. But professionally, I'm going, well, let me, take it home and see what I can do. I'm not sure at this point if it's fixable, but I'll see what I can do. Because that gets me out of the environment. Let me load it up and take it home so that when I get in the car and pull out of her driveway and I get a good mile down the road, I can have that moment of, Jesus, King Christ. We're really? 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 What? In the sun? Direct sunlight. All day. You left it on your porch. Oh, my God. Oh, the case is all warped.
And I remember this one.
God. Yeah.
I remember this one. And the reason I remember this one is you walk through the door looking like you have rescued an abused puppy. I'm sure the look on my face was just like, I need liquor. I can't even for the rest of the day. I can't even. I wasn't prepared for this one. I wasn't prepared. All she said is she knocked a cup of coffee over on her computer and she unplugged it. And I went, okay, good start. She did not drop the bombshell of left the battery in it, set it on her front porch, indirect sunlight, upside down. Yeah. Oh, really? What would you... Ooh. Overnight. That was the other part. She left it out overnight till the next day. So I'm then going condensation. This computer has sat out overnight. Oh, my God. And she likes cream and sugar in her coffee. Things you pick up about clients so you know later what's going to happen. So when the ant crawled out, I was non-pulsed. Did nothing. I'm like, yep. This is going to be a fun one. Ultimately, no, it was not fixable. Well, I'll take that back. It was technically repairable.
And just as an insight, I'm not one of those people that will necessarily fix it just because I can. There's weighted parts of this conversation in my head, and part of that weighted conversation is it needed a new screen, it needed a new keyboard. I wasn't too happy with the battery, and it was 7 years old.
Right.
And at that point, and it was a $300-ish Walmart special at the time she bought it.
Right.
And I'm going, by the time I order all the parts, put in all the parts, and fix this bad boy, just go to Walmart. Just go to Walmart. Buy another computer. I'm not going to charge you. I will come return this bad boy to you. Copied her files off. The hard drive was salvageable. We copied the files off. Got her, she kept all of her stuff. But no, I'm just I do. It's a struggle sometimes. And, but you know what?
Yeah, but here's the question for you.
She's really good. Oh, well, I just have to say this really fast about this client before everyone's sitting here like dumbass. And that whole judgment. For her age group, she's doing amazing. For people 30, 40 years younger than her, she's doing great at what she needs to do on that computer. Her church loves her. She does amazing work for them. Her skills and abilities in what she was trained in are impeccable. Right. All the lights are on and everything is home with this woman. I do not know what caused this moment. Maybe it was the fact it was the first cup of coffee and it fell right into her computer. And, she didn't have a moment there to be like, what should I do next? But things happen. They do.
Now, 2 weeks later. As I call.
I blame you. I
know.
Blame you.
You can blame me, but you really should blame the universe. They're the ones that, hit you with a brick wall. But.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, on the side of that, you done the same thing.
Well, I did not turn it upside down and set it out on the porch.
Well, no, you didn't. But you spilled coffee in it. That happens. What should clients do when that occurs?
Basically, at that point, your best option is to immediately unplug if it is plugged in. If it has a removable battery, please take that out as quickly as possible. You want to orient it on its side away from the charge port. Do not turn it towards the charge port. That's where most of your, capacitors and things like that are more likely to be on your motherboard. You do want to put it on its side. So, if it's a laptop, because that's usually when this happens. If it is a laptop, you want to open it up to where it makes, that pretty little perfect 90-degree angle between the screen and the keyboard. Set it on the non-charge port side on a table, like you're putting up a little, study carrel, if anyone remembers those from school. But basically, you want to leave it there to drain. Put some paper towels or a towel under it if you feel so inclined. And then that's it. Do not, if it's on when this happens, immediately turn it off. Don't care what you're doing. Press and hold that power button until it turns off. and then set it as described, set it on its little corner, let it drain, and make sure to either go ahead and call your IT person, if you have an IT guru, or if that's me, call me, and or take it where you can get it repaired. Many computers that have liquid damage can very much be repaired. A lot of times it's as simple as you've already done everything you needed to do, but having someone else go ahead and take it apart and make sure of that before you try to turn it back on, always in your favor, because sometimes what happens is you will not leave it long enough. There's trapped liquid that does not drain out, and therefore if you turn that power back on, it's going to go boom. And what would have been a very fixable machine suddenly becomes a hunk of plastic. Sometimes a flaming hunk of plastic.
Right. And, well, yes, and that would be unfortunate. But you can always reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is in the description of the show. And, you know, if you're in our area, Techy Joe's available. You know, I'll ship him out to do something. If not, we'll find you someone that's qualified to do that.
Yes. We do have a few different people that we know of in many areas, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're always happy. And I can certainly always, you know, at least give you an idea of what you're dealing with. You know, like, how big of a bear is it? And I'll just say real quick, that is something I run into a lot with clients, is sometimes that fear of calling. I know for me, I will generally try to help you as much as I can over the phone. If it's something that I can, you know, in any way, like, get you back on track, or at least give you an idea, okay, here's the bear you're dealing with, you know, and walk you through some basic questions, like, do you even want to really go down this rabbit hole? What you after? Because run into a lot of people, you paid $1,000 for that computer, you know, 5 years ago. Let me tell you what's worth now, and then ask you, do you really want to go putting $200-$300 in it? Because computer value drops precipitously. So once you start hitting that about 3-year mark, it's about gone. Its value is pretty much used up. You know, you're down into, even a high-end system is down to, you know, a couple $100 at a best case. And a lot of people don't realize that, you know, you're about to throw a lot of money towards something that's not worth what you think it is. So before you freak out, you know. And so, I'll take lots of those calls. I don't charge for those calls. I'll gladly, you know, walk through those without a problem. Like, tell me what you got going on. And then I can tell you, is that something you want to fix? Is that something you really want to deal with? And what are your options that, you know, instead of this big giant repair bill you're afraid of, what are some options you got? Because not everything has to have a tech go deal with it. But liquid damage, guys, liquid damage, always, always, always suck it up. If you want to keep it or get your files off of it, either way, take it to a repair place and suck it up. Like, you cannot
we'll be
get around that.
Tuesday with the Psychic Coffee Shop.
Yeah.
Joe, of course, be sitting in my co-seat. And we'll be taking your calls. So, until then, good night, y'all.
Good night.
Choosing a psychic is hard, and you don't want to waste time finding one that's right for you. You've thought about calling into the show, but you want more privacy than that? With services from phone, email, chat, text, and his network availability, you need to check out Aeson's website at aesonnight.com. Just a few clicks and you can have your own personal, private psychic reading. On aesonnight.com, you can also find out about VIP packages, scheduling parties and events, and signing up for his classes. What are you waiting for? Talk to Aeson today.